Hello guys, we are working on our spawn chunks right now. As you can see, we're kind of clearing the walls up. We're gonna make this structure here. You'll see a video about that. But one of the problems we have is with it, or sorry, for it, we need 17.84 shulker boxes of dark prismarine. And Lemon is currently working on a better Guardian farm, because the one we have right now is the old shitty design. But he's working on a new one. But we also need 17.84 shulker boxes of squid or ink sacs. So that's what this video is about. I'm gonna make a squid farm. The design I have come up with so far is this. As you can see, it's just water flowing down from the highest block. When it starts flowing, so not the source. When it starts flowing is the highest block squid can spawn, down to the lowest one, and then there's just a clock up here, which would make these pistons go off every now and then. The clock would obviously be better in the final design, and this would be way bigger. But as you can see, the squid would spawn, and then they get pushed out. But as you can see, if I warp the tick rate, if I do slash tick rate 1000, a lot of them don't get pushed out, but just fall out. Right? I need to be far enough so they can spawn. A lot of them just swim out before the pistons even reach them, and this takes up a lot of space. Because it's so thick, if we just had water and then instantly portal next to it, that would take way less space. So I'm gonna do that instead, because then we have way more spawning spaces, and I'll compare it to this one, seeing if it's faster to push them out with the piston or to just have them swim into the portal. And then just compare the rates of those two. Okay, so I made a farm with portals and then just water in the middle. Right now there's no water because I turned it on and off with a button. But I'll turn it on, go to the nether, and show you what it looks like from that side. I have it running now. This is normal tick speed, and this is how many squids come out. This is definitely good enough for what we need. Maybe even a little too good. I'll probably have to spend some time on getting a proper collection system. Right now, there's just one bot in the overworld, so just one mob cap, and this is how many squids we get. The only hard parts will be getting rid of those two obsidians. We'll have to build an update suppressor, which will be quite annoying, and making the perimeter in the overworld itself. But we're pretty good at that by now, so won't be too bad. Alright, the perimeter's finished. I cleared everything up. I put my view distance on high so you can see the whole thing. I built a checkerboard pattern for the floor and covered it with glass. I used white concrete and then blue terracotta. We got all the terracotta while the trench diggers were still running on these sides. And we dug out a whole bunch of unstained terracotta in the middle. And and then just dyed it and used that for the floor. But I'm gonna hop into creative right now because I found a few ways to make the farm a lot more efficient. And I'll show you those right now. This is the old design. And the way the farm works right now is you just have portal water, portal water, portal water. And whenever the squids spawn, their AI makes them just swim in a random direction. That's the first thing they do after they spawn. Which means that most of the time they go into the portal unless they either swim like directly straight upwards or downwards. But usually they don't do that. So they always swim into the portal. But still, you need to wait for them to spawn and then swim. And that can take like a second. So this design is way better, more difficult though. On all of these blocks, also on the yellow ones, we're gonna have ghasts captured in minecarts, and then as soon as the squid spawn, there will be a layer of water here and in the portal here. They will get pushed into the portal almost instantly. As soon as they spawn, the first thing that happens is they get pushed into the portal. Now, this is just one slice. I built 4 slices like this, and I already set it up in the testing world. So I'll go there and show you the rates right now. Okay, I'm on the test world right now, and I ran the farm for about 20 minutes, and it makes about 50,000 items per hour, so that's 50,000 ink sacs per hour. But there's a few ways we can improve this. One of them is by doubling the mob cap. Now, usually you'd think this would double the rates and turn it into 100,000, but I've tested it and it actually only goes up to 57,000. So this has to be some weird thing with the spawning mechanics of the squid, but doubling the mob cap doesn't actually double the rate, it only increases it slightly, so it won't be that useful. So unless we triple or quadruple it, it won't really be that significant. But what we can do is is apply looting. We can get TNT primed with a looting arrow to go off, and if that kills the squids, the looting will be applied to the drops. So we can actually like mass produce looting drops, and if we use that, we multiply our output by 2.4, and then we get 120,000. We get 120,000 drops with just normal looting, and we'll get about 136 to 140,000 items with the double mob cap and the looting. And then, of course, as we keep increasing the mob cap, so adding more players AFK in places where no squids can spawn, um, the the drop rates will keep increasing until the maximum amount of spawning spaces in the farm are being used. After which, increasing the mob cap won't change anything anymore. But that's what we're gonna do. Is I'm gonna apply the looting, so we get the 2.4 times output. Okay, so I built up the frame of the farm in survival now. You can see all the places where the ghasts would go are done, and the water works as well. The portals aren't in place yet, so they do float to the side. But everything works. Of course, not these ones because it's not connected yet. But yeah, all I have to do now is figure out a way to capture a bunch of ghasts and put them in here. So I'll do that now. Oh yeah, I also have to light the portals before I put them in because once the ghasts are in, I won't be able to do that anymore. Okay, this is how I use my machine to capture ghasts. So wait for one to spawn up there. Then come down here and pick him up with the minecart. There we go. He'll go to the middle now. He might take some damage, but not a big deal. Okay, there's no extra minecart, so I can just push him into the cage. Okay, now you can see these pistons are extended, so he can't go into the portal yet. Oh, that's not good. Now I can go here, run into him and name tag him, get out again. Okay, now I can release those two pistons, push this one, and this one. Oh, there we go. And he's in the thing now. Then get rid of the excess minecart. There we go, perfect. Okay, he's in the middle of the portal now. Now we need him to go to either one of these sides. So the easiest or quickest way to do that is just to walk in here and just... There we go. He goes through the portal so he doesn't see anymore, and then he stops being aggro. Now if I do this, he should get picked up. Perfect. Come down to this little station. This is just here in case it doesn't get picked up, and there's an empty minecart there so it doesn't go in the farm. Now I can just power that. And he's on his way to the farm. Okay, now once we have a row of them completely filled up, there's a few things we have to do. We're gonna divert all these rails again. And okay, that's good. And now the big one. The next ghast, the next layer that gets on top of them, I'll go inspect it to make it a bit easier. Sometimes the minecart just lands right on top of them and it's fine, but most of the time it doesn't and they just glide off. So they need glass blocks like inside of the ghast at my head level right now, so the next minecart can sit on top of that. But obviously I can't go in here and just start building that, so I'm gonna have to push in an entire row of glass from the side here. And that should work perfectly, and then the next layer of ghasts, their minecart could rest on top of those. So I'll do that now. Now we should have an entire row of glass inside of them the whole way through. Yeah, perfect. So then the next layer of ghast will sit on top of that, and we can just repeat this process 3 more times until this whole layer is full, and then we start again over here. So I don't think there's anything left to say about how to capture the ghast. So I'll just do all of that, and yeah, that'll be it. Then I'll be back. Okay, guys. So when I said that it was gonna go flawlessly and I was gonna do all of it in one go, I was wrong because we restarted the server and some of the gas in the middle here are unaligned. So what I'll have to do is those rails I pushed in from the bottom where the minecarts sit on, I'll have to do that from each side as well to make sure they're encased on well, pretty much every side so they can't move even on a restart. So I have to unload all the 20 gas that are in here now. Luckily I only finished one slice so far. And the way I'm going to do that is just do like very simple piston doors like this, like manual. Pull out the block from underneath them and then have them go on this railway. And they will be sorted into these separate sort of chambers, I guess you could call them, and they will also have glass inside of their head at all times, so they won't be able to see me while I'm walking around here. And I'll just manually change all these levers since it's supposed to be a temporary thing anyway. And then for here, like they just fall down here and they get pushed by this block, and the next one just goes over that so the rails don't connect. So I can take them out. Obviously it'll be more difficult for the ones that are unaligned because they're not perfectly gonna fall down anymore. But yeah, I'll get all those 20 ghasts out now, and I'll rebuild some of it. I'll be back then. Okay, they started killing each other, and I only managed to save, I think it's 6 or 7 of them, not 7 of them. So yeah, 13 of them died, but what we're gonna do now is the bottom layer, these 5 gas standing on these blue terracotta blocks, they did not get misaligned. So I can like preemptively put like blocks around the glass where they're gonna stand on, like this. Let's see, like that. And then we just push that block in like from the bottom the way we already did, but this way they can't get moved to the side. And I could even do one on top as well, so they're completely encased in glass from all sides, and that way they will never be able to get nudged away like that again. So yeah, I'm gonna have to recapture those gas to fill this slice again, but I'll also put those side blocks in. Okay, I put on all these guards now, so the blocks that they would eventually be standing on will be these ones, and we can push those in from the side the same way I did earlier. But this way, they won't be able to move sideways, and then just to be sure, I'll also push like a row of glass on top of here, and then it'll be encased on every single side, and there's no way, not even on the server restart or anything, they could be nudged or pushed or anything at all. So once I do that, they should be completely secure. So yeah, I guess I'll put those 7 back in and then capture the rest again and continue capturing them until the farm is done, and I'll be back when that happens. Okay guys, I made some last minute changes to the gas capture, and it's a bit more efficient now, so I thought I'd show those off. Now on the nether side, I didn't really change much apart from these pistons up here. They're unnecessary. You could just have the blocks there and it'll be totally fine. Those pistons aren't though. But this, the whole nether side is honestly not perfect right now, and I will probably design a better version of this later on. But the main improvements are on the overworld side, so I'll show those real quick. Okay, this is the portal where they arrive once you send them over here from the nether. And what I changed now is they get stuck by these blocks. So they're like, they can't go anywhere, which means you can send through like 20 at a time, and it won't be a problem at all. They'll just stay in here, kind of nudge each other either to this side or to this side. But this means you can like solo capture 20 of them in the nether and then come over here and do all of them at once. Now, if they're pushed to this side, obviously put a minecart there. If they're pushed to that side, you put a minecart there. And then they will come on top of this block, and they'll have a glass block inside of their head so they can't see anything. And then once you're sure you don't have an empty minecart here, you can do this, turn it on, and it'll be sent to the actual farm. Then once they get to the farm, I made this thing as well, which is it's like the gas sorter. So the first one comes in here, and then this rail gets curved to this side, so the next one will go in there. Now we also use this for the mob switch with the shulkers, but that version had like blocks on top of the rails like that, and that would damage the ghasts. Well, I mean, actually, I haven't tested if it damages the ghast, but I mean, for my own sake, let's just hope it does, because I redesigned it to have it down here, so all of the redstone is underneath the rails. So you just have an item in there. When it goes, when the gas goes over there, it spits it into that dropper, which powers this or unpowers this rail, and it curves to that side. And then once you get to the last one, you just have a repeater running through all the droppers, so they spit it back into the first one, and then everything resets. Now, if you're building this, because obviously it's directional, if you're building this oriented the other way, and they are actually correct when they are not powered, all you need to do is just move that detector rail over there and change the item from that dropper to this dropper. But yeah, that should work. Yeah, that should work. So you can just build that here and then extend this rail all the way over there so you can use it for the whole thing. But this made it so I can capture like a whole bunch of gas at the same time and send them like without having to come here each time, and it makes the whole process a lot more efficient. Like you could easily get all 80 of them in like one day if you really want to. So yeah, I will leave a world download and all the schematics for this, like all of these contraptions separately as well, including the farm. I will leave the schematic for the frame, like the way you see it right here, and I will put like pink wool blocks on the side where you need to push the glass in, so you can do this yourself if you would like. But yeah, that's it. Now I just gotta capture these last 20, and then I gotta start working on the looting part. Okay, we have another problem. I'm in the survival world right now. This is where the ghast catcher was, and this is where the portals are for the squid farm. And I have put the schematic in, and as you can see, the highest block is right where the bedrock is. So this whole pink square of bedrock will have to get removed as well, because right there a lever goes. And yeah, another thing we could do instead of that is at the nether hub over here we could use one of the lower tunnels, but that would only lower it by a few blocks, and even though that would fix our problem there, we still need like a bit of wiggle room on top to build like the control room and whatnot. So I think I'm just gonna tear down the ghast farm and remove that just because it's not that much effort anyway. It's not that much bedrock and it'll look way nicer. So yeah, I'll build up the bedrock breaker and then when it's ready to run that I'll be back. Okay, I built up the machine to remove the bedrock. I've already tried to launch it once, but it failed, so I had to rebuild it. And in this gap you see here, it's I tried to remove the bedrock manually, like just by pistons and unload detector, and then just flying away. But that would have taken way too long for this whole thing. So I set this up. You just have a bunch of dragon eggs over the area where you want your bedrock removed, and then this machine will drop the eggs while you're over there, so they're lazy loaded. So I'll go over there and launch it. Alright, if the whole thing travels about, I'd say 7 chunks, we should be safe. Also, I think this is where you have to sit to make sure the chunks stay lazy loaded and they don't get unloaded. Because I think that's what we did wrong last time, is we just kind of stood there and it broke. So I'm gonna update this observer now. Then this flying machine should start pushing the whole machine forward. And then I need to get into this seat over here. There we go. And now I just count 7 chunks and then yeah, then we'll check if it worked. Actually, I'm gonna pause the machine now. I think we're already done. Oh wow, yeah, we even overshot it. Oh, it looks like we missed a row here though. I gotta add one more module of these things to the side. That's no big deal. Yeah, but as you can see, all the bedrock is removed now, and there's dragon eggs instead. So now I just need to put up some flying machines here, so the whole thing sweeps all the eggs away, and then we can just prepare it again for the next round. Only thing to keep in mind though is once you run this machine over there, it pushes, yeah, as you can see, this is where the blocks were. It pushes it one, like in that direction. So if you go on this side, I also 7 chunks was way overcounted. Yeah, there's no blocks above these ones anymore, so you need to extend the platform once in this direction each time you run this. Also, you have to rebuild the machine, so this has to be torn down completely, and then I can run it again. But yeah, I'll uh, I'll remove this extra layer. I'll set up an extra piece on that side, an extra module, and I'll sweep this up, continue it 5 more times, and then I'll be back. Then we'll have the bedrock hole. As for the flying machines, I just quickly make these ones. Like, I'll just show one of them. Just place blocks like this, sticky pistons on top, or sorry, slime blocks on top. Sticky pistons here, oh, here, here, observer, observer, and then you just update this one and it'll go. And that'll clear up all the eggs. And you just build that a bunch of times until all of it's gone. Okay, we're back and I have made some progress, as you can see. The bedrock, the hole has been made, and I dug out enough space for the squid farm to fit in comfortably, like the whole thing here. What I haven't done yet is designed a what's it called, nether bolt, piston bolt, but that's not a big deal because it'll just be the same theme as the actual room you can see here. But what I have just finished now is the update suppressor. As you can see, these 3 obsidians are hooked up to this line of rails, and whenever I break this block, the way the updates work is it first goes in the west direction, and then it's hooked up to this machine. And to explain it very, very briefly, the game just has to update all these rails because they're all budded. So it kind of gets overwhelmed and then it doesn't update anything. And then whenever you break the obsidian, the portal doesn't update either. Now that's a very, very, very simplified explanation. So if you want to truly understand how update suppressing works, I recommend you watch XCOM's video about it. I'll link it in the description. But yeah, what we should be able to do right now is just remove these 3 obsidians, and yeah, the portal should stay intact. And if I'm not mistaken, if I put the schematic on for a second, let's see. Yeah, there won't be any blocks that we have to place later on that'll still touch those portal blocks. So we can do that right now and then build a glass around it afterwards. So let's see if this works. Oh yes, there you go. So yeah, I think I should be able to remove all of these now without updating the portal. Oh, that's just so satisfying to see. There we go. The portal is update suppressed. The obsidian is gone. Now you don't get the items, by the way. The obsidian doesn't drop in your inventory. This one I already had, by the way, so don't worry about that. But yeah, this portal is still functional. I could go through there and go to the farm. Um, but yeah, that's it. Now that this is done, I can remove this. I will leave the big part of the update suppressor here though until the entire room is finished, just to make sure I don't mess this up accidentally. But what I can do right now is start building this whole construction. As you can see, yeah, I can start building the whole room around it, the item processing and everything. And I think I'm going to build a cage around here as well to make sure whenever the mob switches off, nothing gets blown up, and I'll slab everything and make sure everything is spawn proof. But yeah, that was the hardest part. Now I just gotta build this room. So I'll start with the material collection, then I'll build this, and I'll be back if there's any problems or when I'm done, and then I can start building the piston bolt. I'm building up the room right now, and I have to make this trapdoor chute where the TNT will fall through. And the trapdoors are powered, even though they don't have a power source next to them. And the way you can do that is, see, if you power them, they go back down when you unpower them. But if you push them after you've powered them, they stay like that. And then I think you can even update them if you just use a block. Yeah, you can put blocks next to them, but then as soon as you power them again and unpower them, they break again. But that's a way you can keep them permanently like that. So I just have to build them up like this, power them all, and then push them into position. So yeah, just a little tip. Okay guys, I'm back and I've made a ton of progress. The entire farm is built in survival, and I designed a piston bolt. I decided not to show this because it's so simple. You just have this compartment on the top for players to fly through, and then just your 2 piston bolts, very average stuff. But what we still need though is, I'll show you, the way we have everything set up. I need to go up here for the looting system to work, and then down here for the TNT to be placed, and then if I want to turn on the collection system, I have to go all the way down here. So what I want to do is build a little piston door in the wall over here, and have a control room up top, so everything can be controlled from one area. And when that's done, the farm will be very easy to use, and yeah, and then I'll showcase it, and that should be it. Alright guys, the farm is finished now, so I'm gonna show you how it works all the way. So it starts on the overworld side, where you just turn the water on, so squids can start spawning, and you have to have a player AFK up on that platform. As you can see, once you have your player AFK and the water is turned on, squids will start spawning, and as soon as they are spawned, they will be pushed into the portals by the ghasts. Okay, then once we get to the nether side, you can see a bunch of squid here are spawning, and they're dying on the platform of suffocation. So what I did is I just made a little door here. We can come through here. It's pretty messy redstone, but it works. Then first thing we should do is come over here and turn the item collection on. So now down there the items are all being funneled into the collection system. Then this is how you do the looting. So you grab a looting sword in your like your right hand and put a bow in your offhand. You shoot an arrow there, and then you press this so the arrow gets aligned. It'll then land on the piston down there. And then when we come here and we flick this lever, TNT will be placed by that bot, so you need to have a player there holding a right click so the TNT gets placed. It will get primed by this arrow, and it will have looting because I'm wearing a looting sword in my hand, and then it'll get primed down, and that's what will kill the squid. So we can do that right now. Now you don't need to keep the bow, but you do need to keep the looting sword in your hand. But yeah, as you can see, the squids are now getting killed by the TNT, and you can see there's XP down there, so the looting is being applied. So now we get 2.4 times the drop that we would usually get. and since it lands right in that lava, it doesn't actually break anything. And yeah, that's how it works. And then once you turn it off, you need to make sure you break the TNT that's up there, because otherwise next time you turn it on, it will break the system. And then the TNT can just go back in these hoppers, which will make it go to that dispenser. And you can put shulker boxes of TNT in that chest, and it will automatically unload them, so you can have tons of TNT stacked up to AFK overnight. Oh yeah, and the arrow will not despawn because it constantly gets set on fire and then not on fire anymore, and that resets the despawn timer. So you cannot use a flame arrow because they will permanently be on fire, and if you use a flame arrow, it will despawn after a while, and then the TNT will just sit here and wait, and then get ignited by the lava eventually, and it'll blow the whole thing up. So do not use flame arrows. Just use normal ones. Now the way the collection system works is the items get pushed through here, through this conveyor belt. Then they get pushed over this long ice tray, and all they do is go over double hopper speed item sorters and shulker loaders. So these sort out only the ink sacks in case stuff like this happens, where you have a gold nugget from a pigman that died on the overworld side, and his items fell through. That's why we need to sort it and can't just take all of it immediately. But yeah, the gold nugget will just sit there and despawn while the ink sacs get sorted out, get put into shulker boxes. Then when they're filled, they will come through here, go all the way up this elevator, and then once that happened, they just go into these chests where we can access them. So yeah, that's how the farm works. Now we finally have enough ink sacs to work on our spawn.